Hello and welcome to another edition of From the Privada Lounge. I'm your host, Brian Descent, and I'd like to reintroduce you today to Mr. Robert Caldwell.
Take 3, Robert Caldwell, Caldwell Cigar Company.
Robert, Midnight Express. It's such a unique cigar that I don't get a lot of info on. Can you please tell me about the wrapper that you use on this cigar, because it is such a unique flavor?
Sure. The wrapper on Midnight Express, it's an Arapiraca wrapper, hybrid that's grown in Ecuador.
It's also, I've seen Arapiraca used before, but it was never this color.
No, this is a darker Arapiraca. This one's actually a higher priming, and it's got an additional fermentation. So that's going to give you a little bit more power, a little bit more depth, a little bit more richness out of the wrapper.
Very rich. Can you tell me a little bit more about the binder on the cigar?
Sure, the binder's a Habano binder, and then the filler we have Criollo, Corojo, and then Nicaraguan Habano.
So it's a Ecuador, Dominican, Nicaraguan trifecta here. Robert, the reason why I brought this cigar up is because it's just such a unique smoking experience that I wanted to share with our audience, and I rarely hear people talk about this cigar when they talk about your portfolio of cigars. Can you tell us just a little bit about how you made it, who you made it with, and what the purpose was?
Sure. So we made this cigar at Tabacalera William Ventura, which is where we make a majority of the Caldwell products. In the beginning, we started with Eastern Standard, King is Dead, Long Live the King. So this was a line extension on the Eastern Standard brand. The reason that we added it was we didn't have a Maduro in our initial portfolio. So we had a Negrito wrapper, we had a Connecticut hybrid, and then we had a Corojo wrapper. And we got so many requests for Maduro. And I myself, usually I tend to not smoke that much Maduro. So I wanted to build a Maduro cigar that identified with my palate, so that my consumers that smoke Caldwell product day in, day out could reach for and have a Caldwell experience. And I think that the beauty of this cigar in particular is that the challenge that we faced was I wanted to build something again for myself, because a lot of Maduro that I'd reach out and I'd smoke, it's not my profile. So a lot of the kind of very bold or very, big Maduro, it wasn't my thing. Or that would be kind of like I've had a few cigars and then I needed that cigar for that experience, but I wanted something that I could grab myself and smoke at 10 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and have my experience, the Caldwell experience that I enjoy and what I choose to smoke and what I build for the consumers reflected via Maduro cigar. And that was a great challenge because William Ventura factory, Williams never leaned towards using Maduro, and I've also never leaned towards using Maduro or towards smoking Maduro. So the two of us got together and we built something that was fantastic. It was a very unique experience, and I think that when you smoke this cigar, it's going to be a Maduro unlike any Maduro you've ever tasted. It's got nuances, it's got subtleties, it's got a lot of what we try to do as a brand, but illustrated via Maduro. And it's very interesting. And I like to use a correlation of, and I've used it actually mainly in collaborations, where if I'm a chef and this guy's a chef, but he's a French chef and I'm an Italian chef, and then I walk into the French chef's kitchen to cook a meal using, an Italian meal using French ingredients, I'm gonna provide something that's neither French nor Italian, but some type of hybrid. And so our company's always tried to kind of like solve those questions or solve those problems that we've had with cigars, or to reach out to consumers and touch them in a different way via unique flavor. So that was really that experience, because it was applying the same kind of method of let's do something differently and let's approach it in a different way. And until this cigar came out, I think Maduro had always been approached kind of in the same method. So I think that we really hit the cigar on the head. And I'm glad that you asked us to bring this cigar today and to discuss this cigar with the consumers, because this is a sleeper in our portfolio and everybody's experience today. And when we pass out the cigar and when we tell the story of the cigar, people are very well enthused because it is a different experience. And Caldwell, from infancy, we wanted to provide a different experience. So we wanted to give consumers something where, here, try this. This is Eastern Standard. It's a Connecticut hybrid. I don't like Connecticut. Yeah, but try this. And then it's a different take on the old experience. So, and then when they try that cigar, yeah, it's different than what they'd expected, and it's a different experience, and therefore it's something maybe that they like or that they enjoy in a different way. And I think that the Midnight Express really hits that on the head. And you'd asked me a little bit earlier about where the name came from. And you referenced the movie. There's a Turkish movie about a prison, which I haven't seen, but bring this cigar to Turkey, try to sell it, get nasty looks, and then you realize very quickly that maybe you've screwed up that name a little bit, which I went to Turkey many times and they kept buying cigars, but never Midnight Express. And then one time a guy said to me, hey, there's this movie that makes Turkey look very bad. You name a cigar after that? I said, absolutely, I didn't. My business partner, Hernando, he's my best friend, and he and I spent forever just hanging out, just buddies, since like early 20-year-old age, going out all the time, going on boats in Miami. And he's a kid that's got boats and things like this. A great friend to have. Find yourself one if you don't have one. And we'd go out on his boat all the time, and he had a boat called Midnight Express. And the reason I chose the name was because I built the brand with him, and it was kind of a tribute to our history together. But the name of the boat is cooler than the name of the movie. And Midnight Express is a boat builder out of Miami that they were contracted originally by Cartel to build go-fast boats. So they would paint these boats jet black, they'd run them with no lights at nighttime, and they'd go as fast as they possibly could. So they would take whatever boat it was, and then they'd retrofit it to make it the fastest damn boat to outrun Customs. So then Customs started getting these boats, and they were these jet black boats, and these boats, they'd come into Miami going 85, 90 miles an hour on the ocean with no lights, and they didn't know what it was. It was just right by them. And they called it Midnight Express because they would navigate by the midnight moon. So they'd come in under the moon, no lights, and just blast, and nobody could see them coming. So then what happened was Customs caught up to them and finally found the boat builders. And then Customs started contracting their boats to be built by Midnight Express. So Midnight Express turned out to be a contractor to build boats then for Customs. Then the narcos come back to them and they're like, that boat caught us. And they're like, got to build a faster boat. And then from there was built this boat company. So the coolest story, I mean, just, you can't beat that story in Miami for boat builders. And so many boat companies actually were built. Like a lot of these go fast boats, they're all based in Palm Beach County,
Allendale,
they're all based out of there, and they all built drug runner boats. And actually, I was on my way to the Bahamas a few years ago, 10, 12 years ago. And I was in an area that's called Northwest Passage, which if you're going up in the Bahamas, it's a deep water area that you can pass a boat through because a lot of the Bahama water is very shallow. So this is a passage to take big boats through. And we're coming through the channel, and before you come through this channel, it's a few miles long, but you have maybe 60 or 80 feet or 100, 200 feet wide to get through this channel. So before you come in, you hit your strobes, then you call on the radio, fire the alarm, make sure no container ships or anybody's coming through the channel. So anyways, I'm coming through the channel, and I'm a passenger on a boat, and it's a big boat, and we're towing a boat behind us with a tow line. And we're there, and I'm sitting on the deck, I'm smoking a cigar, 10:30 at night, enjoying myself, and all of a sudden I see a strobe 100 feet above me from a cargo ship. Captain sees it too, throws the boat in reverse. Boat sucks in the tow line, wraps around the propellers. So anyways, we're fucked, and we drift to the side of the channel, container ship passes us, and we have to drop anchor in this channel. But you're in no man's land. This is where they come and they rob your ass. So we called ahead on the radio to the boat that was in front of us, which it was a girl that I was dating her father's boats. So call ahead to him, and the captain's freaking out, and he's like, hey, we're dead in the water, whatever. And her dad freaks out, and he says, switch to this channel, then switch, and they go through a variety of channels so nobody can follow them. You just announced you're dead in the water in the middle of fucking nowhere. Wow. Put the girls in the engine room, lock all the doors, and wait. So we spent the night with an axe, just hiding kind of in the boat. And nothing happened, but a lot of boats kind of circled around us, shining lights on us. It was very creepy. But back to the Midnight Express. Somewhere there at 2 or 3 in the morning, I'm sitting out and I'm kind of on guard on this boat, hoping that nothing happens. And it was like, and these boats, just like that, they just blast through, bringing drugs, I guess, from Bahamas into Miami. So it's very cool. And then in the morning, the best part was, the solution was one of those mini tanks, and to go cut the line off the thing. And this is sharky water. So I'm like the asshole boyfriend. So I got to go in the water. Wow. So I get one of these little fucking tanks, and I have a bread knife. And this tow rope is 3 inches thick. And I swim down with this little tank. And there were bull shark and lemon shark. Bull shark, they attack for fun. They like to fuck you up. So I'm there and I spent literally 30 minutes to cut the line off this thing, and I didn't get it all the way off, so we ended up having to get towed in So that was
Wow.
that was fun.
So I think now is a great time to revisit Caldwell, because I feel like, based on what you've told me and like the history I've gotten from this industry, you came out with a bang. You were something total, almost like a Privada story. You came out with something totally different, totally new, and it worked. And it worked really well. And I think you, like Privada, also probably got a lot of hate from other, industry veterans and stuff. Something new. And people don't like new things, especially in a traditional business.
Yeah.
So I think it's a great time for our members to go back and visit some Caldwell products, because of what you said in the beginning, which was you tried to redo or look at differently the different wrappers and fillers and how they come together. And you obviously created a very unique product with that. So very cool. Thank you for sharing this story with us. And this cigar is absolutely excellent. It is something unique on our cigar journey.
Glad you enjoyed it. Thank you.